Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on the old show today, Audi's working on something a tad bit on the interesting side when it comes to plug-in electrics or plug-in hybrid vehicles. A lot of stuff is done through some kinetic energy, actually recapturing some of that lost energy that's actually usually just dissipated through an automobile through heat. Now, a lot of vehicles, as far as electrics and hybrids are concerned, have been using the kinetic energy from the braking system, but Audi's doing something that I first heard about 2 or 3 years ago, which I thought was very, very intriguing, actually using the suspension system in the automobile to actually gain a little bit of it. When you look at the dampers or struts or the shock absorbers themselves, these actually just create a lot of heat when you're going through a big cycle, especially when you're going down big bumpy roads. Well, apparently Audi's now working on a system that's going to be able to capture some of that kinetic energy to actually put it right back into the battery of the automobile. Neat technology, but it often makes you giggle a little bit when you're starting to run a little bit low on juice. You're going to go try to find the bumpiest road you can find, or a big sleeping policeman, or a speed bump or something to go slam it over. Interesting stuff moving forward. This is what the whole world is coming to in the world of the automobile. Next up on the list, Ferrari. Ferrari actually looking to really help themselves as far as getting past those CAFE standards, the CO2 emissions. Ferrari's made an announcement over the past several days and said that they are on board with trying to lower their CO2 emissions by using the forced induction coming from a turbocharged units in their future automobiles. Not to mention they're going to go the hybrid route, the exact opposite of what like Lamborghini was going to say they would never do a hybrid. Ferrari's on board with a hybrid system. It's going to be interesting moving forward to see just what exactly is going to happen with these cars. Obviously the LaFerrari has been quite successful as far as its hybrid system is concerned. Speaking of hybrid, this one's probably one of the biggest hybrids on the planet. Volkswagen's Little XL1 concept that they showed off several years ago. But a lot of this vehicle being a hybrid and a diesel power plant. Now, you put both of those together, you're putting quite an expensive situation together. But Volkswagen is learning from these, and actually these vehicles are getting into actual customers' hands very recently. In fact, quite a long time ago. In fact, sad to say that I just learned about it here recently. But this new technology that they're actually using in these automobiles as far as the drivetrain is concerned, and not to mention a lot of work on the aerodynamics. One of the biggest things that was actually taken off of this automobile were the rear view mirrors. The rear view mirrors actually buffet a lot of air and actually act like two monster parachutes, and a lot of manufacturers try to make the air move around them as efficiently as possible. Volkswagen's gone the other route. They put cameras on the side of these automobiles, and the EU has officially made this okay for public road use and for public sales. We actually got some sales numbers as far as pricing is concerned on this automobile, as it will be sold in the European market for £98,515 sterling, or that comes to the equivalent of $167,736. Very expensive automobile, but it does get one 1 liter of fuel for 1 kilometer, which is pretty doggone impressive. Now, it's going to take a little bit more of a hurdles to jump through for this thing to be sold in the American market, trying to get that whole mirror thing figured out, number one. But interesting technology. I already heard from Volkswagen saying that this technology, as far as the drivetrain is concerned, is hopefully going to make its way into a lot of other Volkswagen vehicles moving forward. Next up on the list, the Goodwood Festival of Speed is going on overseas, and this was one of the big reveals from the folks over at McLaren. This is their brand new 650 GT3. This vehicle will be making its appearance in the GT3 class in the Blockpan GT series over in Europe. This vehicle will be replacing the 12C GT3. This vehicle comes with the same 3.8-liter twin-turbocharged V8, but it is a tad bit on the detuned side to actually level the playing field, only making 493 brake horsepower. That being said, this thing's got a monocoque, it's got a total carbon fiber body, and has been stripped to the bones. This is a full-blown racing machine. 0 to 60 numbers can come in at 2.9 seconds with a top speed of 207 miles an hour. This vehicle will be making its official debut possibly later this year, but more than likely it will come in the first part of the 2015 GT series. And if you'd like to get your hands on one of these, apparently you can get one for as low as $560,000 US. You just got to hook it up with the folks over at McLaren over in Woking. Next up on the list, this vehicle made its official debut at the Goodwood Festival of Speed as well. This is Aston Martin's Vision Gran Turismo concept. And sadly enough, this thing will probably never see the light of day as far as it's concerned in production value. But you will be able to play this vehicle in the Gran Turismo 6 video game coming very, very soon. Aston Martin did a ton of work on this automobile, and I got a video up on the Facebook page if you'd like to take a little sneak peek at the inside of what was going on to develop this stunningly beautiful automobile from the folks over at Aston Martin. Another vehicle to make its official debut at the Goodwood Festival of Speed is the brand new 2015 Ford Focus ST. Now, little has been changed about the outside of the automobile, but it does come with the same 2-liter, 4-cylinder turbocharged unit, making 252 brake horsepower and 270 pounds-feet of torque. 0 to 60 numbers come in at 5.9 seconds, and this vehicle will be able to do all this fun and speed and be able to get upwards of 32 miles per gallon on the highway. Now, the folks over at the ST Group has actually done a couple of changes to this vehicle. It gets brand new front springs on the automobile, not to mention brand new dampers on all 4 corners, try to help a little bit with the handling. And this thing is going to be making continued runs up the Goodwood Hill all of this weekend. In fact, I guess we're in the middle part of the Goodwood Festival of Speed, at least in the taping of this program. Got 1 day left to go after today, so the Focus ST 2015 makes its debut at Goodwood. Last up on the list, interesting situation involving the Formula One World Championships, as it's going to get a brand new rule for 2015 that I find very, very entertaining. At the start of every race, if within 2 laps, if there has to be a safety car come in, they're going to redo the standing start, which is going to make it very interesting. I don't know if they've got a time limit or a limit on how many times this could be done, but as in NASCAR, and you hate to maybe compare NASCAR to Formula One, but cautions breed cautions, and if you have a bunch of standing starts, I think you're going to have a fair amount of accidents. Worse even yet, within 5 laps from the end of the race, there has to be a safety car. They're going to do it again. They're going to make another standing start, which is going to be very, very interesting, especially for these very small displacement turbocharged V6 that make a massive amount of heat. If these things have been running all day, boy, you try to come in and try to make these vehicles sit on the starting line while everybody forms up. It's going to be very, very interesting year in the year of 2015 to see what this thing goes down. But very excited to see what goes on with this as far as the Formula One circus in the future. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. If you want to jump on over to the Facebook page, the link's down in the show notes. Also, if you want to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time and get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.